So we've covered a huntsman series, plenty of videos on tarantulas, plenty of videos on stick insects, a few on mantis. But we've only ever done a couple regarding isopods. Why? Because up until now, I only owned 3 species, with my favourite up until now being the dairy cow isopods, a species that has really thrived in my collection. But stay tuned, because you've got a lot more isopod videos coming your way. Hello and welcome back to Bug Realms. On this channel we like to discuss all things creepy crawly, so if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to show you how I personally set up a starter colony of isopods. Now what do I mean by starter colony? That could be a colony of 5, 10, 20 or 30 in my opinion anyway. Now I would recommend starting with at least 10, but if you want faster success or more probable success, I would go for around 20 or 30. But some of these species are so expensive, I understand why you'd rather start with just a couple or 5 or 10. But I've got to feature today the Armadillium klugii or klugii, the Slano locality, and I've only got 10 of these, although I think there might be some babies lurking about in there too. So first of all, you're going to need to get yourself a tub. Pretty much any tub will do you. I'm not going to go any larger than this. Some people start off much larger than this, about double in width. I'm only not doing that because I want to research my isopods as I go along, learn their behavioural characteristics of each species, and if I have something too large, I'll never be able to find them until, of course, the full colony is established. But it's really important, if you really want to learn about your inverts, to kind of observe them over time, not just go on what you see on YouTube videos, even mine guys. Right, so this is the size tub I'm going to be using for today. So it's roughly 7 inches tall and the same in width. Now ventilation is the first thing you're going to need to do to these tubs. Now I'm going to be putting in vent holes with a soldering iron. I'll be doing a strip along one side and plenty on the top. Now some people do just cut out a square on the top. You can do that. I just find that a little bit more tricky and a little bit more time consuming. Then what we're going to do is cover those vent holes with some mesh. You can use fly screening, things like that, whatever you can get your hands on, because baby isopods can be really tiny and you don't want them escaping because they won't survive in your room. So let's get that bit done now. So there we have it. I tried to show you a bit of diversity. So on the lid I glued it on the bottom, on the inside, and on the side bit I glued it on the outside. I always put glue first on one and I put mesh over and glue over the top on the other, just to show you that it doesn't really matter which way round you do it, whatever works best for you. So now we've got vented top and a vented side. Now I didn't put them all the way round because if you have far too much ventilation, your isopods will dry out much quicker. But as long as they have a cross ventilation of airflow, so a side strip and a top strip, kind of how you'll see on like Exoterras and many other vivariums, side and top to allow the air to flow on through. Really important with isopods. So what do we do now we've got this set up? Well, your next bit is of course your substrate. Now I'm going to show you the very basic substrate setup for today's video, but if you stay tuned to the next isopod video, I will actually be showing you in that one how to do a much more premium, a much better substrate mix, and those things will be added into this one as well after the video. So what I've got here is some topsoil, really safe topsoil, no fertilizer has been used or anything like that in this soil, and I'm just going to dump that straight on in. Now there are 2 more key ingredients you need for absolutely any isopod setup, and number 1 is deciduous leaves. So things like oak leaves, for example, just pop them in willy-nilly. You see how they're just sat on the top? What I'm going to do now, crush them up and mix it like you're mixing a cake, okay? This is all going to be mixed into the substrate. Shred the leaves up if you have to. Next key ingredient to add in is rotten white wood. So how do you tell if your white wood is rotten? I will show you now. Here is a piece of rotten white wood, and you can tell because it will crumble, literally flake off, and that's exactly how you want that wood to be. So you're now going to mix in a bunch of that stuff into this substrate, and then we're going to mix it like a cake again. Now I'm going to add one more layer of soil-based substrate, not quite as much as last time, on the top like so. I'm going to give it that very light pinching kind of grip now while I just aerate the soil. You don't want it packed down, you want there to be spaces between, you want that oxygen to flow on through. And now we're going to add a little bit more leaf litter to the very top of this one. So there we have it, guys. You've got your soil mixed in with rotten white wood and leaf litter, another layer of soil, layer of leaf litter, nice and airy. It should be able to hear it move around when you move this. So for only 10 isopods, that's more than sufficient, and that will last them a long time. But remember, stay tuned to the next isopod video, because I'll show you how to bump this up to make it 10 times better than what this is. The secret ingredients I'll be putting in after this video is closed. Next, before I introduce the isopods, you want to get yourself a cup or container of fresh water. Not too much, mind, just a bit. Now I'm going to pick the side where the ventilation is not, the opposite side. And you see the water I've got in here, I'm just using this because it's available right now. And I'm going to pour, not spray, not mist, pour into one side. This is something that I will explain to you in another isopod video down the line. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Your substrate, some water, some leaves, some rotten white wood. Now, for an added effect, what I do like to do is add a bit of cork bark or some other kind of bark to the top for a nice hiding space. And the reason I do this is because normally they'll congregate there, and you can simply lift up that bit of bark so that you can see your isopods without having to rummage absolutely everywhere to find them. Now, as I've only got 10 in here, I'm just using a simple curved bit of bark like this. And I'm going to place it right in the top, in the centre, just like so. Now I'm going to give you a quick aerial shot of this enclosure so you can see exactly how mine is looking and see if yours is in any way comparable. So here we have it. There's the bit of bark surrounded by leaf litter. Now these are really large leaves. These are actually leftovers sent from me all the way from America, in fact. There were some lovely oak leaves in there as well as some other leaves. So you don't have to have them quite that big. You can see where the wet side has gone down now from the water. And now we get the fun part, ladies and gentlemen. We get to look at our Armadillium, klugii or klugii, and they are beautiful. So this is the pot that I was sent them in. This is not an actual home. I've only just received these. And we'll chuck that old leaf in there. Another tip for when you receive isopods, guys, if there's any soil in there, put it straight into your enclosure, because you don't know if there's going to be babies within that. Same with leaf litter. There's one. Pop it down here and see if I can get a better shot. There, that's about the best I can get right now. I don't have a macro lens, but you can see the beauty. Also known as clown isopods, and you can see why with the colorations. You got those beautiful reds around the rim, and then you've got your lovely white dots on a kind of mocha kind of coloured body. So I've actually just popped this one in the bark in its new home. See if we can get a closer shot without it. Yes, it didn't go out. You can see it really well there. Let me bring my light even more forwards for you. In fact, let's turn off the yellow of this light and just leave the white. It doesn't focus very well, but isn't that beautiful? So you've got other localities of this, Montenegro and some others. As far as I'm aware, they pretty much look the same. There obviously will be some differences, but you'd need a more expert eye for that. So let's get out some of the others, shall we? So there should be 10 in here. If I lift up this bit of cardboard, there's another. You'll have to excuse the noise, guys, because I solder ironed this vent holes. I've left all my windows open. So even a bit of cardboard I don't mind leaving in there, because I don't want any babies to not make it through. There we are. There's the rest of them, look. Beautiful, right? So we're going to tip this whole bit in. Every last bit. There's one on my hand. Perfectly safe to handle isopods, guys. This is a great thing for getting your kids into inverts as well, because you don't have any worries of them handling these. They're not going to bite them, they're not going to sting them. It's a great introduction into the world of inverts, stopping them being scared. Oops. So the only bit I am going to take out is this tissue, but for the moment it's still a bit moist and got some substrate on, so I'm going to place it in the drier corner, let it dry out a bit more, and then I will remove it and make sure that no isopods are lurking there. There's another klugii there, or a few of them. So in time you'll find them all under this cork bark mostly, or under the leaves. I hope this video helped out some newbies. Let me know in the comments below, did you learn anything? Is there anything you would like to see? As I said, this is a very basic substrate mix. I would recommend a bit of moss on the side that you water as well, but that's all going to be shown in the next isopod episode. What do you guys think of the Armadillium klugii? I think they're a fascinating species. They are one that do hide quite regularly though, or so I've read, but this is my first time in keeping them. But yes, I don't think there's any more we need to cover in today's video. But this is how I set up my starter colony. Oh, if you want to know when to move your colony into something bigger, use your eyes basically. Certain species of isopod can actually be territorial, something I'll cover later on as well. But this size will be good for a fair few. Once you can lift this bark and it's just literally riddled with them, then I will move them up to a storage box style enclosure. So there we have it. Feel free to pop your questions in the comments below. If I don't answer them, it's just because they're going to be covered in one of my upcoming isopod videos. And I will let you know that in the comments below as well. So there we have it. Armadillium klugii, or klugii, all set up for our starter culture. Cheers guys, take care. Do you guys want to see what else dwells within the realm? If so, make sure to pop back weekly for multiple videos. My usual upload days are Wednesdays and Sundays, so I'll see you guys there. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to become a disciple of the realm and have your name shown on the screen like these lovely people, you can do so in one of two ways. You can scroll down the screen now and hit that join button next to the subscribe to be a channel member. Or alternatively, you can follow my link in the description below to my Patreon page. Both methods grant you access to my private Facebook page, where we like to discuss even more things creepy crawly. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, bye bye.